like him or not, like his policies or not, Mitch McConnell, as the current Senate Minority Leader, is not a stupid man. His words are usually measured, and when he says things for a reason. They're very calculating. So I'm trying to scratch my head, trying to figure out why he said to big corporations when it comes to the Georgia laws that were put in place now to suppress the vote down there for big businesses to stay out of politics. Really? That's kind of crazy, and Mitch McConnell knows better than that. Big business staying out of politics? Well, big business have been involved in politics for decades, if not more. They have been involved spending millions of dollars with political action committees, supporting candidates and campaigns, as well as being involved with hiring lobbyists to support their concerns and interests for their organizations and businesses in this country for a long time. Big business is a part of America, a part of democracy, a part of the system where people spend money for their influence, for decision making in campaigns, and who makes the laws, who enacts the laws, who is voted in and out of office. So how could he say that? Are you saying now, Mitch McConnell, that, or were you saying that, oh yeah, just give us your money and we'll take care of the rest? Well, of course, we know that he walked this back within the last 24 hours or so. But why did he say this? It makes no sense. But here we come to a situation in politics now where I wonder if the tail is wagging the dog as the other way around. And I'm going someplace with this edition of On Point. So Mitch McConnell walks us back. And so now you have a situation where big businesses, we're talking about, for instance, Coca-Cola, we're talking about Major League Baseball, they were trying to get Home Depot, as well as also trying to get the Masters moved from Augusta. That was not going to happen. Using their influence on what they feel was an unrighteous decision by Republican lawmakers in the state of Georgia. And not just there, but in 43 states, 250 bills to suppress the vote, to change things on the very simple things where people no longer can get water or food sent to them waiting online unless it's by some pollster. I mean, crazy, crazy stuff. All right, so Mitch McConnell, he walked this back somewhat. Okay, I guess he regained some sense or whatever he was trying to get out of this. We certainly don't know at this point. But again, big business has always been involved in politics, and perhaps rightly so. Less so since smaller donations now have increased by individuals, but they're still involved. But what is it about politics where there is not inclusion for all people? That the politicians should not necessarily be running the show, the tail wagging the dog, as opposed to the other way around. Politics is local. I've been saying this for a long, long, long time now. If you register to vote, you become involved in politics. If you vote, you become involved in politics. If you become a member of an organization like the League of Women Voters, say, you become involved in politics. If you're a lawmaker on the local level, an assembly person or a city council person has a town meeting and you're there to give your views, you become involved in politics. Everybody should be involved in politics. That's what this is all about. So for a politician to say to a big business or even to a person, no, leave the political stuff to us, you shouldn't be involved in politics, is absolutely crazy. Where are we going now in this country when it comes to this, where people are not allowed to say what they want to say? Laura Ingraham on Fox, well, you got to take it for what it is, said to LeBron James when he got involved in speaking his point of view on a number of issues, is shut up and dribble. Really? She may not remember the Olympics in Mexico City in 1968, where Juan Carlos and Tommy Jones raised their fist in defiance to all the unrest that was going on in this country when it related to civil rights. It gained national attention. People paid attention to that. Colin Kaepernick is recently making a kneel, and of course all sorts of havoc was raised over that. Athletes, entertainers, Tony Bennett, Harry Belafonte, you can name them, Lena Horne, they've all been involved in politics. Why? Because they have a voice. And because people listen to them and they revere them for whatever reason, they use that voice for the betterment of the good, or for what they think is the betterment of the good, depending on what side you look at. But this has always been the case. No, everybody has a right to speak, whether you make multi-million dollars or you don't. That's what it is. Nobody has a right to tell you to shut up because you bounce a basketball or you sing or you run 100 yards to glory. Where are we as a country now? And is the tail wagging the dog? And the reason why I say that is because I just wanted to get an idea and everybody get on point about who should and be involved in politics. Who's really running the show now? Is it the people of this country or maybe just the lawmakers? For instance, we've had just another mass shooting today where a number of people were killed. Also today, Joe Biden, this is now, of course, Thursday in April, talking about doing executive orders to change gun laws in this country. Most Republicans, if not all, most, are against changing laws that would ban assault weapons in this country. But if you look at the polls, and we're talking about a wide range of polls, most Americans say we need to do something, like increase background checks, perhaps ban assault weapons. But it doesn't seem like the politicians or the Republicans are listening to this. And I'm not just beating up on Republicans. There seems to be a game being played in Washington back and forth over the ban on assault weapons, when it comes to the stimulus package, the filibuster that's going on right now, immigration. The Republicans and the Democrats, they are fighting tooth and nail over power, but are they really listening to what the people are saying? If you believe the polls and you believe what most people are saying, what a lot of politicians are doing and fighting amongst themselves has absolutely nothing to do with what the American public wants. Who's wagging the dog here? Are the politicians, the tails wagging the dog? Or do we, the people, have the power? We have the situation now where, of course, we have some people are blaming politicians, and some talk show hosts are blaming Stacey Abrams, Lee Ossoff, or Raphael Warnock for Major League Baseball moving out of Georgia, out of Atlanta, Georgia, for this recent All-Star game. Well, the fact of the matter is, it really wasn't Major League Baseball. It was big business and sponsors that made that move. But they're blaming Stacey Abrams. They really didn't have anything to do with it. As a matter of fact, those three basically were saying, look, and also Keisha Lance Bottoms, look, let's not boycott here, because that's taking millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of dollars away from the state of Georgia. They weren't saying to move or to boycott and move away. Then who was saying this? Big business. And I think that's why Mitch McConnell was saying, in part, stay out of it. He knows about the money, but that really, I don't think, was his major concern. Thus, the mea culpa. The bottom line is, the people have spoken. The question is anybody listening? The issue for enacting new legislation by Republican lawmakers in 43 states across this country, well, they've done it. They're trying to make a point. They're trying to change things, and that's an issue for another on point. But the real issue here is not necessarily the boycott by Coca-Cola, Home Depot, you name it. The real issue here is H.R. 1. H.R. 1 is a legislation that needs to be passed so they can counteract anything that state lawmakers do when it comes to trying to suppress the vote. That's where the power is. Now the question is, it's passed the House. Will it pass the Senate? That's the issue. What are people saying about this? What's the popular consensus over this? Are politicians listening or are they not? That is the issue. Once again, it involves not just big business, but everybody becoming involved in the political process to enact change. The focus should not be necessarily on Stacey Abrams or Keisha Lance Bottoms or the two newly elected Democratic senators to the state of Georgia. It should be on H.R. 1. That's where the issue should be. That's what the media should be focusing on and what the politicians will or will not do about it. And it comes down to is the tail wagging the dog. There was an old movie years ago called Cool Hand Luke. Paul Newman was involved in that, and there was this famous line in there. I think it was the overseer of this prison camp. He was saying to Paul Newman, says, what we have here is a failure to communicate. We need to communicate what is really going on. Who's wagging the dog? Is it the tail, or is the dog wagging the tail? And what can be done to change that? That's where our focus should be. And in future On Points, we want to revisit this issue on what's really happening in Washington, D.C. Are the lawmakers really working for us? Is big business really working for us? Or is the other way around? Or are they listening to us? We'll see you next week.